So that leads to my next question, and it may be more me being introspective than a reflection on you. But you've been in the game for 20 years. We're, I think, a similar age. How do you stay cool? Like when you're dealing with streetwear and youth culture, how do you stay on top of it all?
Yeah. Well, the early lesson you're going to learn is just take yourself out of it. Like you're not the consumer. Like stop trying to lean into what you think is cool because that changes pretty quickly. Like when you hit the floor in front of you. Age. So I think it's just
I
like,
feel like kids kill it as well. I used to be
yeah,
cool before kids.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that just puts a stop button on that cool journey. But like it's again, it's you just got to stay close to what's happening. If you're into culture, you stay into it, whether that's, fashion or it's music or whatever it is, you tend to lean right in and, you have to be curious and you have to keep kind of exploring and understanding what's happening. So I think that keeps you on the pulse, but then you also got to surround yourself with good people. You can't do it all. So my teams have always been fantastic and always younger. You're trying to getting people that are closer to those communities and have a good point of view and trust them to, you know, steer the brand in the direction or the brands that they should be going.
Yeah, that makes sense. And when it comes to engaging new consumers and unlocking the next generations, because I think it would be very easy, especially with a brand like Converse, not to speak to them specifically, but when it comes to Converse, it would be very easy to slip into nostalgia territory.
Yeah,
And
it's
I'm going to reframe that. Give me 2 seconds.
yeah.
I can imagine that with a brand like Converse, it would be very easy to slip into nostalgia territory. How do you make sure you keep brands moving forward and being relevant and desired by new generations as they come through?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. When I look back on my career and the brands that I've worked with, there's always been an iconic product that stood this test of time over generations. And it's really fascinating to me. Like if you look at Doc Martens, they got a 1460 boot, like the classic Doc Martens boot, which came out in the 60s and is still as relevant today. Look at Timberland. They've got the yellow waterproof boot, which came out of the 70s. Again, still relevant today. And the Chuck Taylor, came out in the early 1900s.
Did it really?
Yeah, 1917. So, and like still 100 years plus later, still relevant today. And like mostly unchanged. You see that silhouette and it's pretty similar to what was back then. And that is because the brands need to continue to evolve with the consumers. You don't get to this position with any of these brands by standing still and standing by your morals. And the interesting part is the consumer always brought those brands across. What those products are being used for now aren't what the products were made for. Like a Timberland boot was made for the dead of winter, waterproof, like in North Hampshire, freezing cold, and it's worn on the streets of New York and in hip hop videos. Um, a Chuck Taylor was made for basketball, a professional on-court basketball shoe in the 1920s and 30s.
I can't get an image out of my head. I really want to see like a black and white photo of someone in Chuck Taylor's in like 1917. I reckon that'd be wild.
The crazy thing is, literally throughout the 30s, 40s, and 50s, it was the uniform for basketball. It was
Yeah.
like you wear a singlet, you wear a pair of shorts, and you wear a pair of these shoes, and that's what you're playing. So, and now it's unfathomable that that is the performance product that you would put on your feet to play basketball. So it's about following the consumer where they take it. So, through the Doc Martens example, in the 60s, it was a work boot and it was adopted by the punk rock movement and that took him in a certain direction. And the attitude of that kind of the brand leaned into to be like, okay, they didn't push back against it. Same with Timberland and hip hop, same with, Chuck Taylor's and skateboarding and music and art and that whole creative community who treated it as a blank canvas. It's like, cool, this is like, a shoe that I can wear and be myself. So we take that attitude, or I've taken that attitude all the way. Where do the consumers lead us? And then how do we be useful to that consumer now?